Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the um, Mid-South Wrestling Review for the 15th of October, 1983. First segment, they vote on the next opponent for Butch Reed in the North American title. Hacksaw Duggan, Magnum TA, and Junkyard Dog are there. They vote by fan approval and fan applause. This doesn't go very well as the vote of the fans is the Junkyard Dog. In an interview following this up, though, Reed goes against the vote of the fans and basically handpicks Magnum TA, probably because he believes him to be an easier challenger for the championship. We go to Stratton and Cruz versus Weingroff and King Cobra. Um, Weingroff and King Cobra, kind of I don't know, I guess you'd say a pretty basic team. Actually, really a basic match. And King Cobra, I guess, endorsed by the Junkyard Dog at one point. Um, Stratton manages to hit a few shots on him. Meanwhile, Cobra takes him down, and back to the tag off. Weingroff comes in and goes to, or yeah, um, um, Cruz comes in and goes off on the his opponent there, Cobra. Tag off. Weingroff comes in and manages to, they go head to head. A little bit of just a very basic tag match, nothing to write home about at all. Stratton comes back in, does some brawling with Weingroff along the way. Big power slam by Stratton, and actually not a guy that I know a whole lot about. He comes in as an enhancement talent over the last couple of weeks. Not anything too terribly worth writing about. And then we see him make a tag off to Cruz. Cruz pretty dominant on Weingroff for a couple of minutes. Weingroff kind of falls back into his corner a little bit. Stratton comes back in and takes a short knee on his adversary there. Kick up and a tag off to King Cobra. Cobra and Weingroff clean house on the heels for the next few minutes, and King Cobra manages to hit a second rope a drop kick, which should have been a finish, you would think, in 1983, but wasn't. Weingroff hooks the abdominal stretch into the rollback, and that gets a pin for him. Hacksaw Butch Reed against Magnum TA for the North American Championship is up next as the match that had been set earlier in the program by Reed himself. That is, pretty assertive. Reed basically says that this is the challenge he wants. This is the man that he believes has earned the opportunity. There seems to be a bit of chicanery over that. Magnum TA, though, had been laid out by Reed a few weeks back, as we recall, and Magnum TA has been wrestling quite well in Mid-South over the last several months. So him getting a championship match, although the fans didn't want that, they wanted the dog, still they're going to cheer along and enjoy. Butch Reed manages to get a few shots in after some headlocks on Magnum TA. He even puts him up for a big back body drop. Goes to the mid rope and drops a knee across him, and TA does not stay down. TA manages to be aggressive, assertive to the best of his ability in just about every area. Kick under the chin and a elbow drop there by um, by Butch Reed. Reed manages a big press slam and a drop right across the middle of the ring, and oddly TA manages to kick out of the press slam of the man, and big body slam in the middle of the ring, and kind of gets going there in the best way he knows how. Hard shots by TA, and again, kind of there. Big belly to belly suplex by Magnum TA, and we see some some good shots and Irish whip. The champion Reed sends TA into the referee, and ultimately Reed comes off with another shot to the referee, who is laying over Magnum TA at the time. TA comes back to his feet, does manage to hit the belly to belly suplex and a 3 count. And your new North American champion, at least for the moment, is Magnum TA. Volkov against Mike Bond. I'm sorry, Mike Reed is up next. Volkov has been here for the last several weeks, being pretty dominant. He manages to get a short knee into the midsection of Reed, and then continues to bite on him, go after him pretty aggressively. Forearms across the spine, and Reed tries to fight up a little bit. Volkov hits him with a kick to the face. Volkov not really impressed with him and kind of treating him rather dismissively, if we're completely honest. Um, and then we kind of see a big choke out by Volkov there. Knee to the, I guess you'd say, the side of everything, and then a headbutt there. Um, and Volkov finally hits the backbreaker he's been known for in the area and gets a victory. Leaping Lanny Poffo, who later becomes the Genius, against Doug Vines, making, I believe, his debut in the area, if not very close to it. Certainly television debut, most likely possible. Poffo only here for a couple of months as he moves on to Memphis with his brother rather quickly in the World Wrestling Federation, but he's here as a journeyman for a few months. Anyway, Poffo manages some arm drags and certainly known for a more high-flying style than is typical in 1983, even at the end of 83. Into 84, actually does a backward cartwheel, handspring type maneuver to get out of an arm bar. Certainly more athletically inclined than lots of people. Hangs on to the head scissors, does Poffo. Poffo really gets a shine for himself here. Arm bars along the way, and really basic stuff there again. And we see the kick, and then we ultimately see the first moonsault press, or at least the first I've ever seen in the North American area by Poffo for the victory. We move along to Reed and Neidhart versus Duggan and Magnum TA in another contest there. Duggan and Magnum TA, certainly kind of a big deal. I believe they still hold. Yeah, they hold at this point the tag team championships here, and they've won those a little while back. Reed and Neidhart had basically all but promised that they would win these championships. Reed manages to forearm his opponent right in between the eyes, that being TA, and again, the issues with TA beating him for the North American Championship factor in there. Hard shots by TA. TA managing to hit a few shots on his adversary. And again, we see the tag off. Duggan and Magnum TA cut the ring off on Neidhart. Just interesting to see Duggan and Neidhart in a different scenario. Duggan also manages the hip toss takeover on Reed, and then we see a Beal by Duggan on Reed out of the corner, and it's pretty assertive again. We see the duck of the clothesline and a missed drop kick by Reed on his adversary. Duggan almost gets a pinfall over Reed, but doesn't quite come together there. Neidhart tagged back in, and a takedown on TA. TA fighting from underneath for the next several minutes against Jim Neidhart. Interesting pairing that I would not have guessed did battle there. The story of I guess maybe not the rest of the match entirely, but for a good bit of the match, is Magnum TA fighting from underneath, brawling, and front face locks, hammer locks, and basic stuff. So they're really trying to get as much as they can out of Magnum TA. Neidhart manages several forearms across the back, cuts the ring off on TA for a good bit of time. TA, though, always fighting from underneath, showing what I guess you'd call kind of that Ricky Steamboat style registering comeback. Finally gets a hot tag to Duggan. Duggan manages to go around and punch kick his way out of a good bit of trouble, although not all trouble. Beal of Neidhart across the ring. Duggan with the flying tackle, and he and Reed collide. Reed kind of coming out on the better end of that. Neidhart taking Duggan down for a little bit. Neidhart manages a body slam on a newly returning Magnum TA and hits or goes to hit the Samoan drop. However, Duggan manages to hit the spear. Actually, worth checking out here, this whole match. Reed manages to come back in via the second rope and hits the flying tackle on Magnum TA for the victory. 1, 2, 3. And I believe that leads us to new tag team champions here. Then we go to the, I guess, final match of the program. I wouldn't necessarily say main event. Crusher Khrushchev against, or Crusher Darso, I'm sorry, against King Kong Bundy. And Darso, who eventually does become Khrushchev, actually, in the Mid-Atlantic / what later became WCW territory area. Headlocks on Bundy, not exactly, you're not going to see a ton of stuff here. Also, not seeing the matches end nearly as often without a winner as we had in previous months. I think that is probably a good thing. It can happen once in a while, but not every time. Bundy misses the big avalanche in the corner. Darso manages to hit several shots and says he hits a few elbow drops. Darso not really taking the backward step that most would think he would with Bundy. Back elbow by Darso, and again we see a couple of shots. Darso managing to let the man be held up by the ropes, but again, we actually do see this match end with a non-finish. But we'll be back with more right after this.